what if pie was handheld? What if it were entirely encased in just that beautiful crust? What if we did savory pies? Is that okay? It's all okay at Carter and Rye. Hey there, Omaha. Welcome into another episode of Restaurant Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and pie is one of America's most beloved traditions. But there is an Omaha restaurateur who is reimagining what pie can be and saying, well, what if pie was handheld? What if it were entirely encased in just that beautiful crust? What if we did savory pies? Is that okay? It's all okay at Carter and Rye because I have fallen in love with this place, love the hand pies coming out of the shop or at the farmer's market, and coming back on the podcast 5 years after her original appearance is Kate Anderson to tell me all about it. Kate, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here and chat with you about everything that's happened in the last 5 years and before.
We're going to get into it. Now, it feels impossible to me, but I'm sure that there are people listening to and watching this who have not experienced a hand pie. They don't even know what it is. So I'm going to roll out the red carpet and let you introduce it. What is a hand pie?
Okay, so a hand pie is a buttery, flaky pie that fits in the palm of your hand. It's similar or compared to a homemade Pop-Tart or a homemade Hot Pocket. Buttery, flaky layers of crust stuffed with fillings that range from sweet to savory, featuring lots of local ingredients and all made from scratch.
How many times have you answered that question over the course of your life?
Great question, and I think every single time it's different. So,
really?
I mean, I say a lot of the same things, but...
You get the same talking points.
Yeah. You get the same talking points, but I think you kind of, wing it, too. Try and make it sound better every single time.
Well, hopefully as more and more people experience these, you'll have to explain it less and less.
I think that's true already, which is nice.
So I was kind of thinking through this, and I was like thinking of ways to describe a ham pie, and it's kind of like, it's interesting because you see like some kind of pocket in basically every culture, every cuisine. I mean, Latin America has empanadas, the United Kingdom has patsies, Jamaica has patties, India has samosas. What in your mind kind of makes the hand pie stand out from everything else? What puts it in its own little category?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I feel like what makes our product unique is that it's a buttery, flaky crust. Like, it is sort of quintessential Midwestern pie crust, but formed into a hand pie versus like rolled out into a traditional pie. Lots of those cultures' pockets are inspiring to us, just like from the fillings perspective. But I do think our dough is sort of a different experience, just being this like buttery, flaky crust versus like some of them are yeast doughs or fried, in oil, and ours are baked. So anyway, I don't know. I just think it is kind of a standalone thing. The crust we have is different enough, but also similar enough to kind of, stand amongst those things, I guess. Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And what you just said goes perfectly with a quote that I found from you. I think this was from a profile in Omaha magazine in 2024. And you said, I think that hand pies speak to a lot of people because they feel comforting and familiar. Does that kind of go back to like that homemade pie nostalgia that you were just talking about?
Absolutely. Yes. I do feel like food in general can be very nostalgic for people. And our pies seem to do that. I mean, we've had people tear up when they have a bite of our pies, and that like means so much. I don't know. I think it's this like amazing tool that, just takes people somewhere, and I feel really honored to do that.
What is that feeling like for you as a creator to see someone have such an expressive emotion like that when they're experiencing your product?
I mean, I feel like honored and humbled and like, it's like this one little part of people's lives. We all have so much going on, so much life, so much busyness. Like, we live in a very busy culture, but it feels like we have this product that we've sort of designed to exist in a busy world. Like, it's very convenient and it's very quick, but it also creates these like beautiful, sweet little life moments. And I just feel, lucky to do that.
Where does pie fall in like your nostalgic memories? Do you have strong historic ties to that as a dessert?
So pie, I actually didn't love pie in like my younger years. I don't know. I feel like a lot of kids maybe don't love pie. You did.
I did not.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm raising my hand because I was in the same boat as you.
Yeah.
I had a bad pie experience where my dad like forced me to eat like my grandma's cherry pie when I was like 4 years old, and I did not like it.
Yep.
And I didn't have it for like 20 years until I was out of college, and then I had a piece of pie and I was like, what have I been doing this whole time? Anyway,
totally.
Back to you. This is your story, not
mine. That's a real thing, because I think hot fruit can be weird, especially if you're using like pre-made pie fillings, which is something that like is available in a lot of places. Is like maybe they're making it in-house, maybe, but also that might mean that they're like buying the crusts pre-made and they're buying the filling pre-made. So yeah, we are not doing that, and I think that elevates it, quite a bit.
My original question.
Yes, let's go back to
your
that.
memories of pie.
Oh, yes, my memories of pie.
You didn't like it as a kid.
I didn't love it as a kid. But then once I got to be maybe like a teenager, I started being a little more open-minded, probably in many ways. But my great aunt Carol, she always brought the pies. And one year I was like, that looks pretty good. I'm going to try her apple pie. And she made her pies with lard exclusively, which we do not. We use 100% all butter. But it just was like kind of life-changing. I was like, oh, I do like this thing. And then I would say probably more than that, something I ate a lot of as a young kid and teen were brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tarts.
So, and one of your staple like ham pies is the brown sugar cinnamon ham pie.
That's right.
So is that one of those when you take a bite of that?
Oh, yeah.
You just
absolutely
back 30 years.
For sure. Yes. Are you saying I'm just kidding. Saying I'm super old.
No, that was meant as back 15 years.
There we go. That's better.
Much better.
No, yeah, for sure. It is like transporting. It takes you somewhere, I think. And that's amazing.
Okay, so if somebody wants to check this out, you have a shop that is located at 35th and Center. It's open Friday morning, Saturday morning, Sunday morning. And you are also at the Exarban Farmers Market on Sunday mornings.
Yes.
What's unique about your business is there's no just, you walk in a restaurant and there's the menu on the wall, or you're handed a menu and these are your options, and they usually don't change a ton. Your whole menu changes every week.
Yes.
You have 4 flavors, 2 sweet, 2 savory. As you and your business partner were kind of deciding on this business model, how did you fall on that strategy?
So, I feel like this business has sort of just revealed itself to us in a lot of ways. I don't want to make it sound like we can't take any credit. But the design of it mostly has come down to keeping it super simple, keeping it manageable, not giving people too many options that they're overwhelmed. But then also just from the back side of things, making sure that we can handle production, each week. And so what I'm trying to say is when we first started at the farmer's market, we would bring, 3 or 4 flavors, see how they sold, and they just kept selling out. So we were like, okay, every week that's kind of nice. We don't have to bring the same thing the next week. We get to cook up something else. I think had we brought stuff and it didn't sell, then we probably would have been showing up the next week to go through some of those flavors, because all of our product freezes. And so we can have little waste and have a place to sell it. But anyway, I think that through that, we learned that, we can set out, bring what we have, sell through it, and then start from scratch the next week. And that became really exciting to us. And so now that's sort of how it works at the shop too. We have a really small storefront. It's to go only. And so when you come in, you'll see we have 1 freezer, we have 1 oven, small half-size oven. And so, we just work in those 4 flavors because we have 4 trays in our oven, for instance. That's another thing. It's if we add another flavor, or when we do special events, we kind of have to get creative because, we're not able to expand our shop very easily at this point. So, yeah.
Well, and I imagine it's great for you and your team from a creativity standpoint as well, because you don't have 10 to 12 hand pies and okay, we're making the same ones every single week.
Yep.
Yes, there's some repetitiveness and you bring flavors back, but there's also a creative aspect to it where it's like every week we have the opportunity, if we want to, if we have the capacity to make something new.
Yeah, for sure. And that's like super exciting, I think, as a creative person in general. But yeah, creatives in food love making new things all the time, love testing new recipes. I spent a lot of my like early career working in more fine dining and doing like pastry chef things. And that world does a lot of changing too, and it's very seasonal. And so that's kind of, I think, bled into Carter and Rye a bit too, is just that seasonality. But also every week, like printing a new menu every week in those restaurants was something I loved. It's really fun. It's really fun to like keep it fresh for you, but also the customer. I think customers, you can almost always find something you like on the menu, but some weeks you're like, oh, I want all 4 of those, And then we have some people who are like more creative, and I feel like when we get really creative, they come to the shop. And then the people that are a little more like comfort food, more accessible, like the sausage, egg, and cheese, the more classic flavors, then that's their week. So anyway, it all works out. It's pretty cool.
It is very cool. So people, make sure that you're following Carter and Rye, because it's every Thursday you drop the menu, and every week, whether even full transparency, I'm going to be on vacation the week that this is recording, and I still look forward to seeing the menu drop, because I'm like, what are they going to come up with this week? I can't have it. There's no way that I can get my hands on it, but I still need to know. And then it can build FOMO, and then the next time, if that flavor ever comes back, I'm like, hey,
it's on your radar. Yeah.
How have the pie, not even speaking about the fillings, but just the dough itself, how has that evolved over the years? Do you still tinker with it at all, or is it just set?
It's set. I would say it's pretty set. There's still, every time we go to make the dough, I would say it still throws you a curveball, every once in a while.
It's baking,
Yeah, exactly.
Baking is never just set it and forget it.
Yeah, I love and appreciate our recipe so much because it's pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy, but based on humidity, sometimes we'll have to add a little less of the liquid or a little more of the liquid. And yeah, just our kitchen can get very hot in, 100-degree weather with super crazy humidity. So, there's fun things that happen sometimes. Just the other night, actually, we had a power outage. And so someone was working during that and making a batch of dough, and the mixer turned off. And so anyway, even that was just a fun, interesting curveball, where then that batch had to go into the fridge right then, and we had to start it the next morning, and it was super cold. And anyway, it's just always kind of fun. Now that batch of dough we think is going to be extra flaky.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I like how you described that experience as fun. I imagine you were using a slightly different word in the moment.
In the moment, you're so right. That's true. I was like, what are we going to do? But we figured it out, and we're looking at it glass half full, trying to see the positive in it.
You mentioned sausage, egg, and cheese. What are some other best-selling flavors?
I would say classics are almost always the best sellers. Sausage, egg, and cheese, ham, egg, and cheese, bacon, egg, and cheese, for sure.
People like their eggs and cheese.
They really do. They really do. And I think people definitely tend towards the pork breakfast meats. I would say for our veggie, our hash brown casseroles are always a big seller. The fresh herb scramble, we do tons of fresh herbs in there. Dill, basil, scallions, garlic, melty cheese, farm fresh scrambled eggs. You can't go wrong. And then for the sweets, I would say classics are also the best. Obviously our brown sugar cinnamon, but then also our tart cherry, our blueberry, our strawberry. The peach always sells super quickly. This next week, we're going to be doing a vanilla. It's it's a mix between our vanilla custard and our peach pie. So we're just calling it peaches and cream.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds delicious.
Really, really good. Mm-hmm.
Where do you guys draw inspiration from when you're creating new fillings?
I think mostly from eating. I would say that is the number one inspiration, is just going out and eating, in our community. Omaha has an awesome culinary scene, but also traveling. I just went to New York this last winter, and I ate about as many pastries as I possibly could. Brought a friend along, and by the end of it, he was like, I can't. But, that's just the most inspiring way, I think, to like get inspired. Wow. Inspiring way to get inspired. Anyway, my people in the kitchen are also really passionate about food and eating. And so all of us just try and eat as much food as we can, try to travel, try to just eat other people's food in order to make our food taste better.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited because we get to announce something today about a new flavor.
Yes.
So we are dropping this episode on... Watch me get this wrong. Thursday, June 11th, and this weekend, throughout the weekend, so June 12th, 13th, and 14th, you will get the opportunity to get the Brekkie Cubano.
Yes. So exciting.
Tell me about this, because it's two of my favorite things in the world. Breakfast sandwiches, Cubano sandwiches, mashed up in a hand pie.
That's right.
What's it look like?
So we are going to... best of both worlds, and this is like greatly inspired by you because you love the Cubanos.
I do.
And this was a great idea, so we're super excited to make it happen. So we'll take that like smoky barbecue pulled pork, we'll mix it with farm fresh scrambled eggs. We'll probably mess a little bit with like the acidity in the pork. Because I think you and I talked a little bit about how like if we put mustard in an egg pie, it might not work.
Yeah, I remember your text. You were like, I love your idea. I don't know about mustard and pickles with eggs. And I was like, fair point. Fair point.
But like the acidity that comes from mustard and comes from pickles is like what makes a Cubano fantastic, in my opinion. So anyway, that's the plan, is to just really like make it nice and like meaty, smoky, cheesy, rich from the eggs. And just like the scramble itself will hold a lot of that deliciousness. But then just to kind of play with like how to get that acidity in there. We might throw a pickle in there. You'll just have to wait and see.
I would eat pickles in it. I'll try anything at least once. Maybe it won't work, but I'll try anything. And I know that this will work because it's in your capable hands. You will see me at least once that weekend.
Can't wait.
Maybe 3 or 4 times.
Sounds good.
I want to get I'm not going to ask you your favorite hand pie because I know you've answered that question before. You probably have several. But what is like one of your favorite stories behind a hand pie? Whether it's one that was really difficult to nail the flavor on, or you were really inspired by something that you ate somewhere else and you were just like, this would be weird in a hand pie, but I have to try it. Like, what's your favorite story behind one?
Okay. So I'm going to go with this. Just this year, for the first time, we purchased a hog from a local farmer. Little Mountain Ranch provided a beautiful hog for us that we then butchered and broke down to then turn into our breakfast meats. And one of the things that we butchered was the whole ham that we then partnered with another business, Lazy Buffalo. They're a barbecue business in Blackstone. And they smoked it for us, like low and slow over the coals all morning. And then we took it from there. So, we got it from, locally from the farm. Then we took it, we brined it. Then we took it to our friends who then smoked it. And then they brought it back. And then we shaved it. And then we mixed it with our farm fresh eggs and cheese. And that sounds really like, simple. On the menu, it's just a smoked ham, egg, and cheese, or a, ham scramble. But the backstory behind that is like what really brings it all to life to me. It's like everyone's doing what they love, and then it comes together in this pastry that then just gets to be shared with all our customers. So I would say that is really exciting to me and kind of what we set out to do from the beginning. And we do that a lot with like local produce and cheese when we can. But now we're moving into like sort of larger vision stuff, which is the local meat butchery, which is done in-house. And then also this summer, transitioning into using a local organic flour that's milled in Iowa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
really cool.
It's very exciting.
And something that I love that you brought up the Lazy Buffalo
Yeah.
collaboration,
Yeah.
because that's something that's so cool. I mean, we see a lot of restaurants really prioritize local farms, local ingredients. That's incredible.
Yeah.
But then you go local on the back end too.
Apparently.
And you've collaborated with Cone Flour
Yeah.
Creamery,
Yeah.
Omaha Bagel Company, Indian restaurant Canara, Okra African Grill. I mean, we could keep going and keep
Yeah.
going. What makes you passionate about finding other businesses and saying, how can we partner? How can I work with you to create a ham pie in your flavors, or pair ham pies and ice cream, whatever it might be? What makes you passionate about finding other creatives to partner with?
I think just like the community aspect of it. It's just really fun to, work with friends in the community who are doing products that we really love. And I guess it just, there's the like obvious, your customers, our customers kind of overlap. And so it's like helpful and symbiotic in that way. But it's also, I think, you're making this amazing ice cream that's like some of the best I've ever had. It would be such an honor to put like our product alongside it and enjoy it. I don't know. I guess it just feels like small scale in a way that small businesses, local businesses get to do, that you don't find, at large scale places.
The amazing part, you just mentioned the word community, is you also, yes, you're building like community amongst creators, but you're also creating the community amongst the people.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you guys did a pop-up with Omaha Bagel Company last year, so in 2025.
Yeah.
And I showed up probably about half an hour before it started, and there was already a line of like 35. I mean, it went around the building.
Yeah.
It was very cold that day.
It was not
It was
great.
sleeting.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
Bless you all.
Because I probably waited in line for 45 minutes, worth every second, but I got a chance to talk with these other people that I'd never interacted with before. It turns out one of them, the person behind me, owned like a plant shop that I went to in the next week, and the guy in front of me had seen some of my reviews, so we were talking about our favorite restaurants and everything.
That's awesome.
And it was just like, I never would have made these connections
For sure.
if you guys hadn't created this space for us to be. Now, next time, feel free to make that space a little warmer.
Yep, we did. We did this year.
You did, yes. You did a much better job this year.
Yeah, we control the weather now.
But yeah, I commend you on that.
Thank you.
What is a dream hand pie that you would like to create and either haven't had the time or just haven't been able to nail the flavor down yet, but it's in your brain and it's just like lodged in there waiting to be unfurled?
Okay, well, this is sort of cheating, maybe, because I'm working on it.
Well, even better if you're teasing one that we get to have sometime soon.
Yes, and it may happen in between the time that we're recording this and it comes out, which would be unfortunate, but it'll come back.
Okay.
But we're working on a pork belly, like house cured, whiskey cured pork belly, sort of like cut and roasted like you might have in like a bowl of ramen, like a thick cut pork belly situation that, probably not necessarily smoked like bacon, just a little more delicate in the cure, and like the texture will be different than like a lot of our bacon hand pies, for instance. And yeah, just really excited about it. We had the opportunity to, when we butchered the pig, we had an opportunity to then cure it how we want to, using our preferred flavor profile. And yeah, we're going to cook it low and slow, so it will be like super tender. And then I think we're going to put it with eggs and cheese, naturally.
As one does.
But there's also, we have like quite a bit of it. So I think it'll take different forms, and might go into something else. I mean, honestly, this sounds crazy, but a ramen hand pie is also something we've talked about. Like,
I was going to say, did eating ramen inspire this idea?
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I love ramen. Noodle soups are my number one favorite food group.
Really? I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Noodle soups are incredible.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is what's so cool about how your brain and the brains of your team would work. I mean, there are two food like could not be more dissimilar than a hand pie and a bowl of ramen, but you can take those flavors and transport them through a different medium.
We're learning that you can, I mean, there's some things that don't always work out. But it's kind of crazy. The sky is the limit. You could really come up with a lot of combinations. I mean, this is our 8th season at the farmer's market this year, and our 5th season, or we just celebrated our 5th birthday at the shop. And I'm just like, we're never going to be able to make all the hand pies we want to make. It's kind of fun to feel that way. I think I thought when we set out, like, oh, we'll probably just have to start recycling at some point. But I mean, really, just endless opportunities.
I'm going to do a terrible podcast hosting thing and put you on the spot.
Okay.
Do you know how many you've created?
I don't.
Okay.
That's a really good question. And there's a way to figure it out, and we need to just stop making hand pies for a second, go to the spreadsheet, actually work on it. Because we have a started compilation of all of them, but yeah, we haven't actually got a number. But that would be really cool in 5 years when I come back on.
Okay. It would be cool, but I don't like when you just said we need to stop making hand pies, true. Even for a second.
That's true.
I don't like that
That's
idea.
True.
I like when you guys make hand pies.
That's true. And we prefer to make hand pies over making spreadsheets. So,
all right. I've got a question about the business model.
Yes.
I don't know this. I am not a financial advisor, but I would imagine if one were to come to you, they would look at you and say, okay, you've got a shop. You have a brick and mortar business. It's open 3 days a week. You still do the farmer's market. This isn't all, but most farmer's market businesses kind of graduate out of the farmer's market. And eventually, if they get a brick and mortar, like that becomes their thing now.
Yeah.
You guys stick at the farmer's market. I imagine if you didn't do that, you would have the ability to be open another day or so during the week. What makes you so passionate about the farmer's market that 8 years in, you can't get away from it?
Yeah. The farmer's market has become just like such a part of our identity. And we really love it. We love being outside and, making hand pies. Working outside is really fun. But there's also, there is always this sort of like balancing act. Just 2 years ago, we started opening our shop on Sundays and being at the farmer's market on Sundays, which was like a huge step for us. These pies are very laborious. And so we're kind of at this place where we still occasionally sell out. A lot of times we'll have pies till the end of the day for the limited hours that we're open. But, you kind of have to, I think for us, we've just had to decide what works best for us and hope that people will show up in those times. And that is what has happened. Someday maybe we could extend our hours. But at this point, it's just, we're in a place on Sundays where 10,000 people or more show up. And I think that gives us really good visibility in our community because we capture new people every single farmer's market and we tell them about our storefront and then they come to the storefront and they bring their friends. And so it's sort of almost like a marketing, I guess you could say, opportunity, as well as just being an event that we love. And we've grown to like make friends with all the vendors and, that we have very, very loyal farmers market specific customers too. They'd be horrified if we weren't going to come. So yeah, I don't know if I answered your question, but
you answered it brilliantly.
Great.
You did say something in there that I would love to allow you to pull back the curtain on. You said that making these pies is very laborious. Tell me about that process.
Yeah. I think you probably know, just based on your food knowledge and exposure to chatting with so many owners in the food industry. But pastry specifically is very high in labor. It's like a craft. It's an art. It's something that we literally make with our hands by hand. And because of that, I think it sort of changes the scale. I think there is such a thing as maxing out before you have to sacrifice something in that process of making them. We don't want to sacrifice the quality. We don't want to sacrifice the heart of the business just to scale and make more. I think a lot of times growth and scale get confused with like being bigger and, offering more hours. And so anyway, yeah, I think we're really happy to make our product, and I want to keep making the product, and I don't want to sacrifice how we do that, just to like grow. I guess I'm kind of going back to your last question, in addition, but yeah.
I mean, it all plays together though. Yeah, because once you get to a certain point, if you're open 6 days a week at the shop or whatever, you're making maybe twice as many hand pies, then you've got to hire more employees. You have to teach those employees, or the price of ingredients goes to a point where, oh, now we can't get this, we can't afford this level of flour. Well, let's just go to this flour. You're in a good spot, and if you're happy here, your customers are happy here too, because I mean, you talk about the farmers market. Every time I come into the shop, there's 6 or 7 people at least hanging around. So
something's working.
Whatever you're doing, it's keeping the wheels moving,
Dan.
Kate.
Yeah. It is cool. It's interesting also, I think, in the world of pastry, maybe it was post-COVID or maybe it's been a little more recent, but it does seem like there's more small bakeries, especially. I think like bagel shops seem to be doing this like short window, we show up with the product we have when we can, and like hopefully you come too. And it seems like this is a model that's like happening and popping up a lot around the country. So it's just interesting. I think we were kind of on the beginning end of that trend. And so at the beginning, it was really hard for people to understand. Like, we got that question so often, like, when will you be open more? And like, it's so hard to catch you. And like, trust me, I feel bad. Like, I would love to be open more and have more product in endless amounts. But, you also have to like learn where to draw that line. Yeah, it's interesting.
And I think, your friends at Omaha Bagel Company are a great example of that, in that they have, and this number has grown over time, but just due to their realities, they have a certain number of bagels they can make every week.
That's right.
And so you sign up for those, and when they're gone, they're gone. And it creates, not only does it keep the quality high, but I think it creates an air of exclusive. I don't know if exclusivity is the right word, but like FOMO for sure. It's like, I need to get to Carter and Rye by 9:30 this morning, or I don't know if I'm going to get my hand pies. So
yeah, I know. We always
together.
say that we sort of unintentionally created that like scarcity mindset. It wasn't on purpose. It's never on purpose.
No, you weren't saying, let's make sure only a certain few people can get our pies.
Yes, exactly.
It's let's make as many of the highest quality pies that we can, and the people that get them are super lucky. The people that don't get them can come back a little bit earlier next week.
Exactly. Yes, and we really try to encourage that. If you're really set on a flavor, come early, because we don't know, and it's like some weeks it won't be the line out the door for that peach flavored hand pie that it was the previous time we had peach on the menu. It just like, there's so many variables that I could never tell you what it is, but sometimes we're really busy and sometimes we're just like relatively busy.
Okay, I want to go back to the beginning, because this business, it started as a side hustle.
Yes.
In 2019, when you were your best friend, Sarah Ryan, you guys were working together at No More Empty Pots.
Yes.
Whose idea was it, and what were those first conversations like?
So my best friend Ryan, who lives away from here now, and I miss her dearly, but we still get to catch up every once in a while. She was like, I would say, the business and the brains behind like actually making this happen. The way her brain works is a lot different than mine, and I really needed that. I think she'd be great at helping people start businesses, because I think she had a vision, and then we just happened to be sort of in the right place at the right time, working at No More Empty Pots. I was teaching there, and she was like helping out with their coffee shop program that they had just started. Anyway, we happened to be in a place that had a kitchen you could rent for $25 an hour. Don't know that that's still the cost, but at the time that was the cost, and we thought, wow, we could just like kind of side hustle this on nights and weekends. If we were to get into the farmer's market, we could make this product and see how it goes. And so, it sounds like that sounds simple in theory, but there's a lot of little things you got to do to get that going. And so we did all the things. No More Empty Pots was this amazing resource. I'm also super, super grateful to them for all the help they provided, and just like mentorship in starting a new business, because that really made it take off.
But the concept of ham pies.
Oh, I didn't answer your question.
No. You're fine. I'm just, most Omahans to that point did not know what a ham pie was. I mean, there might be some bakeries or some businesses around Omaha that offer them or offer them occasionally. I couldn't name any off the top of my head.
Yeah, to like do it so exclusively.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
What about the ham pie attracted you or made you think that Omaha wanted this? It just didn't know that it wanted it. Like, what made you guys have this kitchen? Yeah. You want to start a side hustle. What made you say ham pies?
So the product in and of itself is this amazing product because I love baking and I love pastry and I've been doing it for 20 years. But pastry can require super early mornings, and pastry in and of itself can be super delicate and have not a great shelf life. And so those were things that always sort of deterred me from this industry, like of baking. But this product was this like magical unicorn that we make the dough, we roll it out, we make the fillings, we fill the pies, we bake them, and then we freeze them. And so we have this product that like allows me to kind of live a normal life. And everyone in the kitchen can work the hours that they want to work. And we're not like, we don't have to get up for the pastries to be made, which is just like a huge perk in my opinion. And also it was a product that could easily be made sweet or savory. And I've always thought that that was like one of the best parts of our business because it's just, we have this vessel that we use the same dough, but we get to kind of fill it with whatever we want. Anyway, so I guess it's the magical product that it rises above everything else very quickly. And we thought if we're going to make a business, we want to do it with this because of all of those reasons.
Something that I should have mentioned, and you mentioned it offhand, but I want to make more of a mention of it. If I were a good podcast host, I probably would have said this about half an hour ago, is yes, you can, even if you come into the shop, you can buy the pies frozen.
Yes.
And in fact, that's what I do almost every time when I bring them home, my wife and I have them for dinner. Because I can imagine someone might be listening to this and they're like, okay, that sounds really good, but what if I don't want to have like a sweet apple hand pie for breakfast, or I don't want to have, a big breakfast, or I want to, this sounds awesome, I want to experience it later in the day.
Yeah.
You can buy them frozen, and then whether you want to air fry or oven, it takes like 15 minutes or less. Mm-hmm. It's so convenient and so easy, and you don't sacrifice any of the flavor. Yeah. Like, it tastes the same either way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, we're doing the same thing at the shop.
Right.
We're taking it and heating it up. We have some customers who think it tastes better at the shop. But
well, that's just the magic of the shop itself.
Guess so. Yeah.
You're never going to have that kind of festive atmosphere at home.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. So
yeah, they're a wonderful product in that way. It's like having a fresh pie out of your oven, and it's super delicious and makes your house smell really good.
Do you remember when your first pop-up was, when you guys sold ham pies?
I do.
It was at
a hair salon in Blackstone.
Oliver
Did you know
and Tate.
this? Okay.
No, I had it down. I just wanted to make sure that you knew.
Yes.
May 4th, 2019.
Yeah.
When I bring up that date, what memories pop to the front of your mind?
I mean, I think mostly just the amount of people that showed up. The fact that we did it with these wonderful owners of Oliver and Tate and like in a space that you wouldn't expect. And I don't know, in my mind, I'm like, why did anyone come? But I guess, I really do think of how many wonderful, happy, smiling people were there and supporting us and like just encouraging us to keep going and keep moving forward. And I think that's still true to this day. We've had the most amazing customers and the most loyal customers. We have like a very high return rate. And still getting new customers all the time. So
you guys had that successful start. When did you get into the farmer's market?
That was that year.
Okay, so it was right after.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. We just launched the season with that first pop-up event to kind of get people excited about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you operated for about a year, and then your business partner and best friend, like you said, is no longer a part of it. She moved.
Yep.
So you kind of reached this inflection point, I imagine, where it was kind of like, okay, we've got this burgeoning business, and it's it's clearly something.
Yeah.
But like a big part of it is now gone, and I have to take it all on now. So it's kind of like, do you go all in on it, or do you say, hey, this was good for a period of my life, but I need to find something else? What made you go all in?
When she decided to move, it was sort of like we both knew that she would move. Like it was something where I feel like we were low-key prepared for that. She wasn't from here. And so I think she basically was like, take it and run. And so there was never even a question in my mind of like, should I do this? It was just like, how can I do this? Mm-hmm. And I think the easiest way was to focus on the hand pies. And she was managing the coffee side. We did cold brew coffees like at the farmer's market the first season. And at that point, I had no idea if we'd have a storefront or anything. It was just farmer's market. And then we were doing porch deliveries and drop-offs. And so, yeah, she left at the end of 2019 after our first season together. And so I decided to leave my full-time job so that I could like really immerse myself in it. And like basically, take a big chance because I didn't know what to expect for that, first part of 2020. Which then...
We'll get into more of 2020.
Yeah.
But... yeah, I hadn't really even thought about that. It was still a side hustle at this point. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a huge risk to lose your business partner and then to double down. Like I said, to put it all, but you doubled down and you were like, yeah, I'm really going to go into this. Yeah. What gave you, I mean, clearly it was the right move. Yeah. I'm glad that you did it. Yeah. What gave you the confidence to do that?
I think it was like a little bit of the fact that two of us were doing it as a side hustle. I was like, I just don't think I'll be able to keep up without her. How can we even like keep moving forward? So I think it was just a little bit of like logistically it needed to happen. And then, the fact that we had a really good season, and I guess at the time, like where I was in the job I was doing, it just felt like the timing aligned in a way that felt like, oh, this is the time to try it. If not now, when, And so I leapt. I don't know. I don't think it was probably the smartest decision I've ever made, but, you figure things out.
I mean, given where you are now, I wouldn't classify it as a dumb decision. I would say it was brilliant.
That's true.
But, I think a lot of people, they stop into the shop and it's a very warm, welcoming place. You guys always seem so happy when you're there. And I think there's kind of this idyllic thought that's associated with baking a lot because people see their moms and grandmas do it, that it's like this nice, calm process. And you just got the rolling pins out and everything's just happy all the time.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And it very much wasn't the case for a lot of 2020.
Yeah.
I went back. In April 2020, you had a very vulnerable Instagram post about how much uncertainty there was in the business. Mm-hmm. And then a few months later, you announced that you guys were actually taking a step back from your role as a vendor in the farmer's market, and you were still going to do some pop-ups, but that wasn't full-time.
Yeah.
And, there was this thing called a pandemic that was happening at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, just go back to 2020. How much uncertainty was there in the business, and what did you kind of cling to that allowed you to push through all that?
Yeah. I remember that post, I think, because we decided to not do the market full time, like be a seasoned vendor. We decided to kind of just like drop in every now and then because market attendance was super low comparatively, Mm-hmm. And so that also just took the burden off of me. And we were actually really focused on, like, we would do pre-orders at that point, pre-orders for like house, like we could drop off or you could pick up. And so I just decided to like put all the energy towards that for the time being. But uncertainty was like, the name of the game for everyone. I think so many small businesses suffered, and it was just like a really weird and hard time. I don't remember what your question was, but
how did you push through
the weird and hard
time?
Yeah. I think I felt very just, lucky to like be alive. That sounds weird, but I think it was just like a really strange time. And so I think like knowing that I had this time and space, because the world did operate at a little bit of a different rhythm. I was like, it was slower. Like, people weren't going out to eat. Places were closed for a long time. I was like, well, this is just the time to like try and build our customer base, try and share our story. And so I just leaned into that, and people kept ordering, and it seemed like they were in for the long haul. And yeah, I actually, because our business had existed in 2019, we were able to get a little bit of support from like COVID relief funds. And I would say that was like super helpful also. And yeah, sometimes I think it helped create a culture with our hand pies of like ordering a box of them, because there was no other way. We didn't have a storefront. You couldn't come get one hot, you know? And so I don't know. I mean, I choose to look at it that way, that it like sort of helped create the kind of business we have to this day. And yeah, it's strange to think about what it would have looked like without that, actually.
I don't know if you've ever thought of this. You probably have, but just imagine how many people you blessed during that period. Well, think about it. Like,
so sweet.
You've seen people tear up when they eat a hand pie because they're so nostalgic. COVID was like the opposite of nostalgia. It's everything's new. Everything's uncertain.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to leave my house tomorrow. I don't know if someone in my family is going to be sick and in the hospital tomorrow. I don't know if we're ever going to get out of this. Will I ever be able to sit in a room with humans again? Like, it was wild for someone to be able to bite into something and experience that nostalgia in that moment, especially, was probably incredibly powerful.
That's very, very sweet. I think you're onto something. I do think people, I mean, we got a lot of feedback at that time that it was like such a comfort. Like we were delivering this little comfort package, you know? So yeah, I guess that's true too, is like, it was a really good time to start this like very convenient on the go comfort food that you could eat at home. You know, you could heat it up at home and have it fresh. So yeah, I'm grateful that it evolved to that place for our business, and I'm grateful we are past it. Well, yeah, for now.
Yes. So you made it through the pandemic, and things were going well enough that you opened your storefront on Center Street in 2021. How did you know it was the right time to open that brick and mortar?
I don't know if I would have called it the right time, but we had an amazing opportunity with the landlord, the person that owns that building, coming to us and saying, this is what I've got. Can you use it? And basically, we looked at it and said, well, in our current situation, it's kind of like our farmer's market tent with walls around it because it is tiny. But like, maybe we don't need more than that, you know, maybe we can kind of make this work, especially given like she's just an amazing person. And half the reason we exist is because we have great landlords at our storefront and our production kitchen, and they have given us really reasonable rent. And that is crucial for small businesses. And I see a lot of small businesses get into situations that aren't as sustainable. So anyway, it just was like another timing thing. It was like the next right thing. And so it was a weird time. We learned all of our customers' faces with masks on first, and then we had to relearn their faces when the masks came off. But similarly, because we don't have anywhere to sit inside, it created this culture of like just popping in, grabbing a box, maybe taking it to your friend's house for breakfast that morning, or maybe going and sharing it with a friend for later, throwing them in your freezer. I think it just sort of like, it ended up working really well. That space made sense. And yeah, we're still in it today. It's still making sense.
This might seem like a dumb question, but what did having a physical space change for you logistically, in addition to, okay, now we have to make more?
Yeah. I mean, it just sort of gives you visibility, which is awesome. A place where people can come that is straightforward. It's on a main street, a parking lot. Like these things, when you're a pop-up, are very confusing for people. You know, it's like you have to kind of like put together all the information. When are they going to be here? When are they going to be there? What will they have? It was like such a nice, it's just like stability. It was really nice to be able to show up to the same place every week and sell our product. I mean, that sounds so simple, but it was like amazing to not have to bring our tent and pop up at the market or, collaborate with other businesses. We just had a reliable place to be. And I think that really took everything to the next level.
I just had a question. It just floated out of my head. I hope it comes back at
I
some
bet
point.
it will. I think it will.
I hope so.
We'll pivot, and then it'll come to you.
I mean, we've done a ton of talking about the past and where Carter Rye's come from. When you look to the future, in addition to more hand pies, what do you see?
So I've always said I would love to have our production facility and our retail space in the same place. That's just something that's been kind of the canned response. But I have been, this year, maybe the last couple of years, I've been trying to think about how to maximize with what we've got, and maybe think a little more creatively about our current situation. I think more hand pies in people's hands is ultimately the goal. Would love to offer hand pies at more places, or, another location for us, or maybe, I guess my answer is I'll know when the next step is right. And we're going to continue to grow gradually and slowly in a way that makes sense, just like we have over the last 8 years. Every year we're just leveling up a little bit. This year has been such a massive year internally for us, just with systems that have gotten better. And I think our product is better than ever, and our fillings are better than ever. People are working nice sustainable hours. And so, I think there is a next step, and I have no idea what it is. And so it's so hard to answer that question, but there is a next step, and it will happen. It's just how it will manifest and form. We'll see, which is a huge part of the fun.
Well, I mean, that's kind of how this business has been through the course of its life, at least the way that the things that we've talked about today. I mean, you and your partner were working at No More Empty Pots, and there was affordable kitchen space there. And then even when she left, you had an opportunity to double down, and you said, yep, I'm doing it. And then the space opened up on Center Street, and you were able to say yes to that. So I think there's a lot of wisdom to that, and just kind of going heads down, making the business as great as you can, and then being aware of opportunities that might be out there. And if it's the right one, you say yes. Yeah,
for sure. I think organic growth is really cool and very underappreciated. I think for optics and what people get excited about is this big new shiny building. Sometimes, if we were to say we're opening up this, beautiful new place, it'll be huge and have all these tables and we'll be open 7 days a week. I think, from the outside looking in, that looks oh, you've made it, you know? And so sometimes I think that is a little bit of a struggle, just personally, internally, because it's a different story. But I don't think that makes it, less good. It's just different. And so, we're sharing how to realistically, sustainably grow as a very small, high labor bakery. And it's a fun ride, and I wouldn't want to be doing anything else.
And yes, there's some excitement about growing fast, but you also don't want to be a flash in the pan.
True.
I'm not going to name names, but we've seen businesses come and go in Omaha that are super hot for a couple months, maybe even a couple years, and they expand really quickly, and then their systems start to kind of come apart, and the product maybe suffers a little, and all of a sudden the whole business might go down. I like that you guys have just kind of taken steps, and you walk through the doors when they open for you.
That's right. And I don't want to get to a place where I'm more worried about the rent than making the hand pies every day. I started the business because that's what I want to do. I actually want to do that. I love it. I'm just so happy that I get to do it.
Well, you just segued me perfectly into my final question.
Awesome.
You had an Instagram post in 2022 that you kind of laid out the story of Carter and Rye, and then you said, every week I'm okay, this will be the week I don't like making ham pies, but that hasn't happened yet. So I was going to ask you, 4 years and thousands of ham pies later, is that still the case?
That is, yes,
but you
I
just
said
it.
That's hilarious. It's true. I still make them. I still love making them.
What is it about this process? And I mean, it's a good thing you still like doing it because you do it a lot, but what is it about this process that draws you in and makes it a good fit for your personality? I
think twofold. One, I love working with my hands. I love physical work. And I would never be a person at an office job probably. And then I would say the other part of it is the experience of I guess selling the hand pies or giving hand pies to people. Sometimes I think I started this business to just make people feel good. and honestly, that is, I think, a big part of it. There's something magical that happens when you make something and give it to someone. And yes, we are transacting in that process, but it's still, I think, at the heart of it, at the core of it, there is this I made this thing for you that I hope makes you feel really, really good. Mm-hmm. And I think that happens to this day. And yeah, anyway, I guess that's when I'm standing there making hand pies, maybe I'm not thinking about all of that all the time, but I do reflect on that a lot. And it is true. It's an honor.
Well, I thank you because I know most of what we've talked about today has all been very positive and it's about the success of the business. And the ham pies have turned out so well. In those 8 years, there's been a lot of, I'm sure, questioning, uncertainty, really hard decisions. True. And I thank you for persevering through those and just keep going because this is, I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here. I would say this if anyone were in your seat. This is a special business that I've not seen anything else like it anywhere. And anytime we get to have ham pies, whether it's fresh at the shop, whether it's at the farmer's market, whether it's getting them frozen and heating them up at home, that's a special experience to us. Thank you, Kate, for everything you've done. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast today.
So fun.
I promise it won't be 5 years again before I have you on again.
Hey, that's all right. Time goes fast, so I'll be ready
really
whenever.
Fast. When I saw it was 2021, I was like, what the heck?
Yeah,
there's no way.
It's been a lot of years. Yeah, time just flies, and I'm happy to be here. Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for having me.
Always. In Omaha, as always, thanks for eating with us.